Shots fired! Shots fired!
What you just saw is the future. A game so lifelike, so violent, it's causing people who once laughed at the very idea of censorship to reconsider their stances. So where is the line? How do we even get here? And can you really remove all violence from gaming? Join us today as we answer these questions and more. Welcome to Super Split Screen Brothers, everyone. I am Nick. This is Jared. This is going to be a little bit more of a somber episode as we kind of tackle a pretty serious topic. We'll have some lighter moments here or there, but I'm just going to let you guys know this is going to be not as jovial. So just kind of getting that out of the way. So let's kind of just start things off on a little bit of a lighter note. So Jared, what you been playing, playa?
I've been starting. I'm planning on starting a playthrough of every Halo game, like going from 1 all the way to Infinite, because the new leadership is apparently installed, and apparently the new studio head is the guy that fixed the Master Chief Collection. So I have high hopes for this. So I'm getting back into that, doing some Halo content, thinking of maybe doing a Let's Play series on my channel for that because I love Halo and. This is the time with everyone feeling good about Halo to start covering Halo content.
I might need to join you in on that.
You're totally welcome, dude. We can get Jay Heat on that too and do a Comics League co-op. Hey, there you go.
Hey,
so,
I'll subscribe to Game Pass then.
Yeah, exactly. So in addition to that, I've just been, in terms of what I've been watching, obviously I watch Mandalorian stuff, but I'm sort of taking a break from The Last Ship. Primarily, what I'm going to do is finally sit down and watch every episode of Batman the Animated Series, because I still haven't done that. I gotten through a like 3 or 4 episodes of episode 1, but I really want to like get through and do like all of them, because as a Batman fan, ignoring DC fan, as a Batman fan, every Batman fan has to have watched that show at least once. That's like a rite of passage. So there's that. And then in terms of movies, I saw that movie by Guy Ritchie called The Covenant, which was super good.
You know what Guy Ritchie movie you need to see?
What?
The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
I saw that.
Oh, well,
it's Henry Cavill. Do you really think I would miss a Henry Cavill movie?
It's a really good
Superman that uses guns. That's awesome.
Oh, you just pissed off a lot of people, bro.
He plays this is the actor who plays Superman, and he uses guns in this movie.
Now, I just wish he could have recreated that image from Death of Superman.
I know, but they kind of did, though, with Lois Lane holding Clark's dead body at the end of BVS.
No, I mean the other iconic image.
Oh, the one with the black suit and the guns.
Just like a Boy Scout.
Be honest, dude.
I come prepared.
If there is one image that screams Zack Snyder, it's black suit Superman with guns, which
yes,
it looks badass. So I'm not complaining. But in terms of what else I've been doing, I've just been like planning out content. I released a video talking about why Wonder Bat does not work, and apparently I'm getting a very positive reception. I've been dealing with internet trolls on my Why Lois Lane is Useless video. I still think she's useless. You're not convincing me otherwise. By call me a liar does not help. So.
You do realize we're technically in my kingdom where Wonder Bat is canon, right?
I'm still allowed to say I think it's a crappy ship. That's besides the point.
And I'm allowed to say you're an idiot.
And by the way, tomorrow, be sure to check out, because Nick and I are talking about the way Juju feminism in media. Like, oh my gosh, this episode does it flawlessly. And I'll talk more about that at the end of this episode. But that's what I've been watching. How about you, brother?
I've been to That 90s show on Netflix, and holy crap, is it good! Like, the new cast is very endearing. I think they use the old cast just enough. Like they kind of bring them back. It doesn't overwhelm you, and I just think it's a great update, and I really want a season 2.
If they update it for like modern day, they could call it that 20 show, that 10 show,
No.
that 2000 show.
No.
I'm just making a Nick pun. That's just me.
And you do a very bad job of it.
Well, you know what they always say. You know what I always say.
I regret nothing.
There you go. But what else have you been enjoying?
I've been still enjoying No Man's Sky. That game is amazing. I need to get you to play it with me.
Awesome.
Yeah, we need to play that together, brother.
Mm-hmm. I'll just ram into your ship randomly. That's what Lad did when we were playing the space mission in Halo. All of a sudden, I'm flying to like take out an enemy ship. All of a sudden, he just cheese grades into my ship.
You should know I have some pretty powerful ships. I can blow you out of the sky if I want to.
Oh, sure.
And then, other than that, just been continuing playing Mass Effect, so that's been good.
That's a good choice, brother. That's an excellent choice.
I just got I just did the Geth Invasion kind of thing where you get the data for Quora. Tally or whatever.
Tally, you mean?
Tally, yes.
Quora is in Andromeda, just to let you know.
Also in Tron Legacy, so.
Well, yeah.
So, so now that we've talked about what we've been playing, we got a single news topic, and then we're gonna get serious there. So, there is a Flash trailer coming.
Comes out tomorrow because tomorrow is CinemaCon, and apparently they're also screening the Flash at CinemaCon. So here's the thing.
So we'll start to see some sentiments float out around Twitter. Also, expect to see some leaks. Like there's gonna be people who post.
There's gonna be spoilers. I was about to say. I expect to see that
in this. So probably on like either on your channel or mine. Probably your channel. We'll probably talk about it. The way I suggest we do it is we'll probably do a non-spoiler portion, and then we'll probably just put up a spoiler tag, and then we'll kind of talk about it so that way people can mute it, and then we'll kind of get back to our business. So basically, remember, in this line, be spoilers.
Yeah, and also what came out recently was that they apparently there's no new. They took out the new footage of Henry Cavill and put in just archive footage from the Whedon cut.
Why?
You know what, dude? That's literally the question I just asked. At least
that sounds like an FU to Cavill and Snyder. I don't know.
Oh, it definitely is. If it's a shot with him with the CGI lip, then I will be pissed.
Because I mean, James Gunn has been trying really hard to hide it, but I get the feeling he's jealous of Snyder. Like I'm starting to kind of get that feeling.
Oh, I got news for you. Every one of Snyder's movies, at least I think, has made more than James Gunn's movies, at least in the DC side. And
James Gunn only did one movie, so.
Well, he did a show too, and it came out that not a lot of people watched Peacemaker, where the Peacemaker did not crash the HBO Max server. So I do think he is jealous that Zack was able to do what he is, and after the Snyder Cut comes out, gets more universal love than Gunn does. Well, that's what happens when you don't have infantile playground humor in your movies, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, that's a discussion for another time, though.
But yeah, that'll probably be our CLD topic for that.
Yeah, that is very possible. So
let me ask you this: in relation to the Flash trailer, what do you think is going to be in this trailer?
Lots and lots of Batman.
Oh well, yeah, of course. Do you think we'll get a shot of Wonder Woman? Oh, by the way, I wanted to tell you. I just remember this now. So someone asked Ana de Armas if she wanted to play Wonder Woman in the new DCU. She goes, "No, Gal's doing a great job. I think she should continue to do it."
Based.
I'm like, yes! She's basically telling Gunn, keep her.
Everyone loves Gal. Everyone loves her.
Well, there are some Wonder Woman fans that don't like her because she's Israeli or that she like is a Zionist. Yeah, I've seen it all stems from when she did a post when like apparently Israel was attacked, when talking about how her country was like at war.
Of course she would support her country. Like, come on.
And she said, our country's at war. Can't we all just get along? That's what the tweet actually said. But anyway, I don't want to get too political on that. But
as far as that's concerned, she's from Israel. She represented Israel in Miss America, Miss USA or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you may not agree with her, but like, it's understandable she would want to support her country. Like,
and here's the key point. Here's the question I always ask people. What does this have to do with her playing Wonder Woman?
Especially since she doesn't talk about, like, she's not constantly talking about it.
This is why I follow the DC actors more than the Marvel actors, because the DC actors are more like, let me show you my craft. Let me show you me doing my job and like having fun with people, because Gal is like one of the most positive people on social media. It's like, it astounds me. Where the Marvel actors, here's how you're idiots for disagreeing with me, and here's how you're supposed to think.
Yeah, don't follow Mark Ruffalo on Twitter, please.
No. He was one of the first.
He is one of those whiny brats I've ever seen.
Yeah, and I'm like, you play a green rage monster. Go back to doing that. And lately you haven't been doing it that well.
The only exception will be Robert Downey Jr.
And Chris Evans, for the most part, is not as bad as the others.
He can get bad sometimes, though. Robert Downey Jr. is a delight.
Oh, yeah. John Bernthal's good. I'm talking about Marvel in general.
I mean, I honestly think John Bernthal's probably a secret conservative, given like the roles he takes and how he acts.
And if
he
you
just
see him
doesn't talk about it.
And if you see him on Instagram, he's always around guns. He just doesn't talk about it, which, hey, that's the way these guys should be. You can advocate for stuff because I get it. You're human. You have certain issues you're passionate about. That's fine. But when it's all that, I'm sorry, it just turns you off. It's like Jason Momoa. Yes, he advocates a lot for the environment, and he can get a little too political for my taste sometimes. Emphasis on sometimes. But most of the time, it's just a positive dude talking about family, and I'm like, yes. And let's not forget, Henry Cavill posts like tons of stuff of him building PCs and painting Warhammer minifigures.
Like,
I love.
I love like the video he posted of him building a computer. I thought, I didn't know Henry Cavill was getting into softcore porn.
Did you see that Star Wars girl reaction to it? It was hilarious.
I thought she'd be like, guys, I need to turn the camera off for a moment.
She almost did that. It was so funny. But anyway, the point, even Ben Affleck.
Her love of Henry Cavill is just so adorable. I gotta say that.
Yeah, even Ben Affleck, because Ben Affleck also gets political sometimes, but for the most part, it's like, let me show you the behind the scenes process and how to make a movie. Let me dote on my beautiful wife. Let's just be normal people.
Oh, speaking of like doting on your beautiful wife, I love like whenever Pierce Brosnan just talks about his wife, it's just so wonderful.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. This is another reason why I like DC and Marvel. They hired people that aren't like whiny brats on social media. And which, by the way, if someone was like on the right if an actor on the right was doing the exact same thing as the left-leaning Marvel actors, I would be saying the exact same thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, stop. You can't alienate half of your audience, dude. That's not the way it works.
This is not the way.
This is not the way. Exactly. I have trouble with Pedro Pascal because he goes like really nuts.
What the problem I have with Pedro is he says worse stuff than Gina does on a daily basis, and he doesn't get in trouble.
All Gina said was division is bad,
which they literally said in The Mandalorian.
That's what I know. Bo-Katan said the exact same stuff as Gina Carano.
Well, this stuff is all well and good, but I do want to get into our topic.
But yeah, okay.
Okay, so we're gonna get a little more serious here. Jared, I asked that you not use any drops while we're kind of on the more serious topic because this is a serious So basically, the we're talking about here is violence in video games and where's the line and kind of stuff. So basically, kind of just give you some context for a lot of this. We're gonna kind of I'm just gonna kind of tell you basically there's three kind of main topics. We're gonna go over the history. We're gonna go over the scapegoats that video games have been for politicians during some stuff. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to talk about where things kind of stand now, and then we're going to end it on a little bit more of a fluffy topic, just kind of a little bit of a palate cleanser. So basically, just like I said, for the context, we're going to talk about history, the history of this topic, and it's going to be broken down kind of into a couple different subtopics. So first off, pre-90s. So basically, I'm going to use 90s as kind of the starting point because that's where most of the relevant discussion is. Mm-hmm. But this topic goes back really far.
It's not even limited to gaming because I just watched a documentary on the history of D&D, and but back in the day, they blamed it for like a lot of violent stuff.
Oh yeah, that's kind of outside the scope of this.
But still, I was just saying it's not necessarily to gaming, but it also happened in that time period too.
I mean, if you want to just kind of very, very real stuff, like people have been using the newest media as like the society's ills, like whether it's ragtime, whether it's movies, whether it's comic books, D&D, whatever the newest media is that the youth are a part of, it's going to get demonized. So
which it may be a contributing factor, but they treat it as if it's the factor that causes it.
True. So basically, the earliest known video game violence controversies that I can think of, and there may be others, there's an arcade game in I think the late 70s, early 80s called Death Race, where you could literally run over people. That may have been a computer game. I didn't really research this portion of it. I'm kind of going off of memory for most of this stuff, to be honest.
Isn't it? Wasn't also a movie called Death Race?
Yeah, sorry, Jason Statham. But anyway, so stuff like that, and then you had stuff like the 70s and the 80s, but the 90s is really where this topic really came into play. You had congressional hearings in the early 90s where you had the president of Nintendo, Howard Lincoln, and Sega, and if my editing is correct, we should be able to drop a clip right here.
The point that I'm making, Senator, is that the game ratings, it just doesn't go far enough. We have to get our hands on the game content. And we've been doing that, but like any other system, it's not perfect. Let me make just a couple of other points. I can't sit here and allow you to be told that somehow the video game business has been transformed today from children to adults. It hasn't been, and Mr. White, who is a former Nintendo employee, knows the demographics as well as I do. Furthermore, I can't let you sit here and buy this nonsense that this Sega Nighttrap game was somehow only meant for adults. The fact of the matter is, this is a copy of the packaging. There was no rating on this game at all when the game was introduced. Small children bought this at Toys R Us, and he knows that as well as I do.
All right, there, got the marker. Yeah, and Howard Lincoln uttered the what I consider famous quote. Oh, I got to do some context first. So basically, there are a couple different games that they're really talked about. You had Nighttrap for the Sega CD. Which, if you go and play it now, it's so quaint. There's Mortal Kombat, because Mortal Kombat had digitized graphics and it was very visceral and whatnot, so I can kind of understand why people freaked out about it.
Kano wins. Flawless victor fatality.
And then there's Doom. We'll kind of get to Doom kind of in like the next big kind of topic, but yeah.
Even Call of Duty was itself a thing of violent
well, you're getting ahead of things, Jared. We're kind of still in that.
Okay.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's 2000s. You can bring that up when we get to the 2000s. We're kind of still in the 90s here. So yeah, this is like when I remember things kind of really popping off. So yeah, and then Howard Lincoln uttered his famous quote.
And let me say that for the record, I want to state that Nighttrap will never appear on a Nintendo system.
Well, guess what's currently on the Switch?
Suck it!
By the way, one of the things I really want to do, so Lone Run Games actually did a physical release of Nighttrap on the Switch. I want to buy that, and if I ever meet Howard Lincoln, I'm going to have him sign it.
Oh!
And the best part is, as soon as I pull that out, he's gonna know exactly why. He's like, oh.
and you have to make sure underline or highlight the Nintendo part of that.
He will know exactly why I'm having sign it, and I'd like to think he'd be a good sport about it, but he might just refuse to sign it. But just like, I want to please try it. But yeah. And so the controversy, like late 90s, it really got bad when you had stuff like Columbine happen, which we'll kind of get into that next topic. I'm just briefly touching on it because, like, when it comes to like the 90s and video games, you can't really ignore that. But going into the 2000s, which Jared was very eager to talk about, it ramped up, but it kind of also took upon a new flavor because you had Fox News kind of getting into the game, and you had the rise of like agitators such as Jack Thompson talking about it, and then you had like stuff like GTA was really the big focus of the violent discussion.
There's one other thing in the 2000s that popped up. There are actually two things. So number one that showed up is that there was this game called like 21 Days in like Fallujah, I think, was supposed to be a recreation of an actual battle and stuff.
Yeah.
Then Modern Warfare 2 featured a mission where you're shooting up an airport undercover as a CIA operative.
And then if I remember correctly, we can put a drop right here.
Remember, no Russian.
And the thing about it, what's interesting is that the backlash got so intense, or like it leaked that was going to be in the game. So it got so intense that they gave you the option to skip the mission.
And remember, no Russian.
Exactly, and that's what it was. And then they had something like that for Modern Warfare 3, but in Modern Warfare 3, you weren't an active, like, terrorist. In Modern Warfare 3, you were just, like, a civilian family in the middle of London, then the terrorist attack happened. So it was significantly less intense.
Yeah, Modern Warfare 2, you were actually committing the act.
Yeah, exactly. Which what I did, because yes, I played the mission for the replay value, but I just turned around and didn't shoot anyone until we got to like the guys actively shooting at you. Because then I'm like, okay, you're shooting at me, I can respond. Yeah. And then I just decided I'm just going to skip it because the mission doesn't add really anything to the plot except for your character dies at the end. Spoiler alert. So I'm like, I don't need this. But yeah, so that's really, and plus Call of Duty in general gets like the heat, and I think it gets the heat more than like games like Halo, because in Halo you're fighting aliens and not humans. Doom is different because it's like you're fighting actual demons.
Yeah, Doom really wasn't a factor in the 2000s because like you had Doom 3 come out, but like that was about it. Because Doom really wasn't a kind of a thing during the 2000s. Also, I think the reason why GTA, GTA, but like Call of Duty was targeted is because it was like the number one product, like one of the top video games out there.
Too.
It's like the lightning rod, kind of thing.
Here's the thing, if it's popular, then they say something. Yeah,
like GTA is one of the most popular media products of all time. I mean, we haven't got we're kind of in a GTA 3 for world kind of in the 2000s. But like,
interestingly enough, by the way, I had a buddy of mine when I lived in Atlanta. So a really close friend of mine. He's been on the channel a few times. His parents would not let him play Call of Duty because, and I quote, they didn't want him to become a shooter.
Yeah.
Eventually, they realized that's stupid, and then obviously, once he got old enough, and they were like, "Yeah, you're mature enough to not." That's the thing. Also, a lot of these people making these claims ignored is that a lot of this comes from the mental health of the individual. If you know the person's not going to react like that, I think you're fine.
Yeah, like when it comes to like that kind of topic, we're just going over the history right now. So
well, yeah, I was just bringing up because I myself during that time period encountered someone that was in the environment where like you can't play this because of this.
Fair enough. I'm just trying to give him like a brief kind of overview of kind of things, just to know that this topic is older than most of the people watching this video, and it's the same things just over and over again, the same talking points. But the kind of the thread you'll kind of see is these games are getting more and more realistic, and like you can kind of understand more and more why people are getting concerned about these video games because they're getting more and more realistic, which is kind of where this is where like the kind of go with things. But just to kind of briefly wrap up this section. So right now we're at the 2010s. Basically, I'm grouping the 2010s and today because I feel like the discussion is the same as it was in the 2010s. Because basically the 2010s is, I'd say the 2010s is when it shifted from more of a family right-leaning issue to a left-leaning issue. Because like the violence in video games issue was very much wrapped up in conservatism. It was wrapped up in kind of like the Christian moral panic and whatnot. Mm-hmm. Like you're more likely to see Fox News talk about it in the 2000s, which we'll get in that. But in the 2010s, it kind of shifted from a right issue to a left-leaning issue where they kept talking about this. You saw a rise of a new agitator, Anita Sarkeesian.
Everything is sexist. Everything is racist. Everything is homophobic, and you have to point it all out.
And with that, we just got a lot of hate. Where he kind of shifted the discussion, not necessarily solely on the violence aspect, but also the so-called sexism in video games. That is way beyond the scope of this video. We're not talking about it. I'm just bringing her up because she's just Jack Thompson 2.0 in a lot of people's minds, myself included. And then it's also kind of important to note that obviously through the 2000s, 2010s, and even today, you still saw violent events happening. That's what we're going to call them. I think Jared would agree that's probably the best way to say it. And when these violent events happens, one of the first things that people blames is the video games. Yes, I guess I just gave myself a perfect segue into video games as scapegoats. And it's a tale as old as time. Kind of going back.
And again, this reflects what we talked about in the beginning of this discussion, that really anything that's popular at the time is going to be a scapegoat. It's just at the time, and arguably still, gaming was really big, and a lot of the big games were getting this heat.
Yes, so kind of going back to the 90s, so we have the tragic event that is Columbine. We've had violent events such as it itself before that, but Columbine was really the first big one that got media attention. I think that's a fair statement. Would you agree?
Historically, yeah, I believe so. I could be wrong on that, but I believe so.
I mean, yeah, they've happened before. They had happened before. This is like the first big media event. Like some people, you're welcome to correct me. If there's one before that got media attention,
sure,
please,
100%.
Let us know in the comments.
100%.
Set the record straight. But anyway, so this event happens, and video games get blamed. In particular, Doom, which we touched upon before. So one of the things is there was a claim out there, it's kind of an urban myth, that the brothers had created levels in Doom that matched the high school and they used that for training. That is only half true. Yes, they had created levels in Doom, but they had nothing to do with their high school. I've actually seen playthroughs of their levels, and they're just normal Doom levels. Like I've seen playthroughs of them. Like you can get the WADs. Like the WADs are out there.
Honestly, I didn't know that Doom had a map editor that early.
Yeah, like the Doom modding scene is mythical. Like seriously.
Oh, it was a mod. It wasn't like an actual thing in game.
No, it was they created Doom maps, like levels. Yeah, I'll send you. I'll look up a link of like some of the playthroughs, and I'll send it to you, and you'll see like they're just normal Doom maps. You know, and yeah, so like Doom kind of got a lot of controversy in the heat, and in the 2000s it just got even worse. Like I was talking about Fox News, and they did some really really nasty stuff. The one that like I've kind of brought up before is their treatment of Mass Effect. You know, which geez. You know, let's I'll try and drop it right here. It's gonna be really funny if I don't do the drops because I'll just do like, you know, Nick did not get the drop, you know.
Yeah, you put in the clips, but yeah. So, and basically, the only thing I just want to address real quick. It was pretty obvious by their statements, which you saw in the previous drop, hopefully, that they never played or engaged or even looked up superficially the game.
I mean, just looking at that drop and I'm assuming
to be clear.
If you've watched this show, I'm assuming that you're at least aware of Mass Effect and have a general idea of like the gameplay. So you probably see that and you know how ridiculous that statement is.
I have played every Mass Effect game multiple times, and they are incorrect.
So yeah, like they said, oh, it's a sex simulator, allows you to do it in any position imaginable. Jared, you've played Mass Effect. You know how PG those sex scenes are.
And by the way, they're not even a big part of the game.
They're like, what, 30 seconds?
Most of the game is basically shooting aliens. That's it. And playing Captain Kirk and piloting a ship across the galaxy.
They have their clothes on, and they're mostly just pawing and kissing at each other.
Mass Effect 1 was the first one that had actual nudity, but yeah, it wasn't like you didn't really see anything. But the point is that, first off, that's about half a minute, and two, it's at the end of the game. I'm like, what in the name? This is the occasion of these guys not doing not doing research and picking a headline that they know is going to grab attention because they know that that people reading it won't do the research. That's why when I was picking out Mass Effect, this is when my parents were a little more protective about what I played. It took me a while to convince them to get me the game because of that.
Yeah.
And then when I played it, I'm like, that's it? Legit. I played through because I got Mass Effect 3 on spring break, and I played it every day that entire spring break. I ended up playing through the entire game 5 times. And yeah, I was like, that's it?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, so I think as far as like this kind of topic, I think we've kind of got that one. I don't want to linger on this one too long because it's like this middle portion was like the most politically charged portion. So yeah, now we're gonna enter the actual discussion of it, the meat and potatoes of this whole thing. Where do we stand now? So I kind of alluded to this, in like the history section. So basically, with video games getting more and more realistic, and then you have this new game come out, Unbound, where the graphics are so realistic, people are thinking that it's actual real body cam footage.
Legit. A buddy of mine sent that to me, and I thought he sent me actual cop body cam footage. That's how realistic it was. It wasn't until I saw a separate video where the dude explained, okay, so here's my environment that I made in Unreal, like one of the engines. I don't know exactly which one he used, but
Unreal Engine 5.
Exactly. So he used Unreal 5, which I'm like, yeah, that was pretty realistic. And as someone that actually played the Unreal demo for the Matrix, I'm like, I could see how that would look really, really realistic, because the environments in that demo look exactly picture like perfect.
Yeah, and it's
But the thing is, let's consider, I think it's important to consider, what is this game trying to show? I think they're trying to give like a humanizing of the law enforcement badge, or at least like trying to show you the scenarios that these guys go through, and that's fine. But you honestly don't have to make it as realistic as you're making it.
I mean, that's like,
Particularly nowadays, I would not make that type of content nowadays, dude.
and yeah, agree. And this ties perfectly in with our discussion. Where do we draw the line? Like, and this is kind of a discussion we need to have where, like yeah, looking back on some of the old controversies, we laughed. We kind of laughed. I'm like, oh, they thought Nighttrap was violent, or oh, Mortal Kombat, or Doom. Like GTA, it's so cartoony. But like, you gotta realize these are leaps forward, and like the realism and immersion. Like, for example, take GTA 3 for instance, or like actually just go back to Doom, first person shooter. You're literally kind of holding the the gun, and
you use a chainsaw to get ammo.
That was not till later, but
but still. But the point is, you can use a chainsaw.
That is fair. That is fair. Yes. And like, these games are getting more and more realistic. Like for example, GTA, you can have sex with a hooker and then shoot her, get your money back.
The thing is, though, see, here's the thing. I think that you won't see as bad a backlash against games as you did back then, because here's why. I think a lot of people are starting to at least get to the mindset that it's not just the games that contribute. Granted, they can play a role in it, but it's not only this. In other words, banning only this won't necessarily get rid of that.
Well, it's that and a couple of other things. So basically, we live in a time where we've had, I'd say it's safe to say, 3 generations of gaming. Like, Gen X played video games. Millennials grew up with video games. Zoomers grew up with video games. So you have not just the parents played video games, and probably most of the parents these days probably still play video games, or at least they played it as a kid. You have the grandparents who probably played video games as well, and probably still do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah. So it's like, so there's a greater understanding, and also, like, so you brought up the claim of mental health. There have been multiple studies that have been done about the topic, and they've concluded that violence in video games on its own are not a contributor to violence.
In fact, dude, when I was homeschooled, because before I went to college, I was homeschooled for like a long time. It worked for me because my mom let me do a lot of these types of projects that interested me, and always apply what I was learning to what I was interested in. So I did a research paper on gaming and violent first-person shooters. In fact, the study showed that like surgeons that played first-person shooters were more accurate. In other words, these things had a tangible benefit to people, as a matter of fact. Granted, again, people of sane mental health. That's the key distinction here.
Yeah, because like video games, I mean, it's pretty clear that video games are a great trainer for hand-eye coordination.
Mm-hmm.
And whatnot. and yeah, so as things kind of get more and more realistic, we're gonna have these discussions more and more, um, and you're gonna see people who I know it might be kind of sacrilegious to say like maybe we shouldn't have these kind of violence in video games, but as things get more and more realistic, you're gonna see more and more people say this might be a little bit too far, and I think we're kind of reaching that point now. Like games like Unbound, and there's gonna be more like it. Like games are reaching the point where they are getting it. We are starting to get to the point where they might be indistinguishable from reality. And
Well,
like
yeah,
I know
that game specifically, I was like, yeah, if I, being of, as far as I know, Sound Knight, if I had trouble distinguishing if this was actual body cam footage, yeah, that might be a bit of a problem.
yeah.
At least make the graphics less realistic. I think that would be a good compromise, because then it's easier to say, because it's like, if it's Halo, I know Halo's fake because it doesn't look real.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a large portion of me that just want to say let the artists do their art, but the other parts of me be like, eh. So yeah, it's definitely a discussion we're going to be having more. And this was meant to be a primer. This video is not meant to be the be-all, end-all of the discussion. This is just meant to be a starting point. So what do you guys think? Do you think there's a line? Do you think games like Unbound should be censored? Like, what are your thoughts upon violence in video games? And do you think there is a point where enough is enough? Please talk about it in the comments below. We look forward to engaging in discussion.
Be civil.
Yes, please be nice. But I don't want to end this on a kind of a dour note. So let's kind of have some fun here. Let's kind of switch it to. What do you guys think is your favorite controllers? I got mine here. So I think the Xbox 360 is the pinnacle of gaming controllers.
That's not the 360 controller, first off.
It's close enough.
No, this is the Xbox 360 controller.
I love how we both picked Xbox.
Here's how you know that. The Xbox 360 has the awkward ass battery pack right here. And yes, for the here's the difference though, Nick. Okay, so here's the way you hold an Xbox 360 controller with this awkward battery pack. Here's how you can hold an Xbox One controller. It's a little less like there's this giant brick in the middle. It's more ergonomic.
Yeah, just So I grew up mostly with like Sony Nintendo controllers, and yes, I do love my Nintendo controllers. Here's the Switch Pro controller right here, and yes, this thing is hella comfortable. Like this thing is, oh my god, this thing just feels so freaking nice. It's better for $70. But like as far as just general controllers, this just feels natural. Like I think Xbox pretty much nailed it with the 360 design, and they've just been refining it. I mean, the PlayStation controller, it works. It definitely works. It's a good controller, but like, there's a reason why this is basically the standard controller design that everyone emulates, even Nintendo. Like,
here's why I've used the PlayStation. Here's what I don't like about the PlayStation controller is the fact that they put the movement and the camera sticks right next to each other. I'm sorry, that is
I grew
horrible.
up with it. I think it's kind of probably one of those things where, like, if you grew up with it, it's not that big of a deal. Like, I grew up with, like, the PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3 controller, so that's not really that big of a deal for me. But yeah, I could do either or. Like, if you put the thumbsticks down there, that's fine. I kind of prefer the Xbox design because I feel like that's more natural. Because, like, for example, the D-pad in gaming is not. It's used, but it's not really used for movement anymore.
Mm-hmm. It's just, yeah, I know, but here's the thing. Yes, because, I mean, you can use it for movement. I play games where either or works, but the thing about it is that it gets confusing if your camera, it just feels awkward because I've used both. In fact, my first gaming controller was a PlayStation controller because I used to go play PlayStation with my friends, and I always said the same thing. Why is the movement stick in the same area as the camera stick? Because I used to get them confused all the time, even before I played Xbox.
I don't know. It just like I said, I grew up with it, so it's not.
I mean, it's all personal preference. That's fine. That's ultimately what it comes down to. It's just personally, I like to have a little bit more of a separation between like the movement and this thing, because even the Game Boy, well, the Game Boy only had the D-pad. It didn't really have a movement stick. But even hold up the Switch controller real quick.
My camera really can't pick it up that well.
Okay, well, the Switch controller even does what the Xbox did, because guess what? Everyone except
let me turn off my camera real quick. I got something. I got an idea.
Okay.
Talk.
My point is that even the Switch controller recognized that the way Xbox does is better. Because here's the thing: if you have that much of a separation, you can go, okay, the higher up one is movement, the lower up one is camera. You don't get them confused, and it's really awkward to hold a controller and keep your thumbs like this, as opposed to like this. There's less of a I guess, awkwardness around that. But
all right.
Again,
all right.
If Nintendo is emulating it, that should say so. Yeah, exactly. Look at that. The movement and the other stick and the camera stick. One's higher than the other.
Yeah. So this is the dog bone configuration for the Switch controller.
But still, the Pro controller has the exact same setup. Granted, the button layout is different. And by the way, this leads to some hilarious stuff on Halo, because Lad keeps wanting to jump, but he hits the B button, which is the melee, when he's behind me, and he melees me in the back of the head, thus killing me.
Oh, what's really bad about some configurations is when it's because like I play a lot of Japanese games, and on PlayStation, oh my god, it's really terrible, because on American-made PlayStation games, confirm is X and back is and cancel is circle. In Japanese PlayStation games, circle is confirm, X is cancel.
Yeah.
So it is so freaking annoying when like oh, I'm playing Uncharted on my PS3, and like, oh, X, and then I go play Persona, and it's like, oh crap, it's like this happens on PSP games as well. It is so freaking annoying.
Yeah, I'm just like, okay, that's the thing. Yeah, I mean, it's just with me, I like having that divide. That could just be a personal preference, and hey, if you like the PlayStation controller, drop in the comments and let us know why you're wrong. But
the only thing I'll say is this version of the Switch controller I actively do not like, because really this D-pad is just not good.
How great is this D-pad, dude?
Even the Switch D-pad, the Pro controller D-pad is fine. It's just I don't like the small buttons, just kind of like
that is my one complaint about like the Switch controllers, that the buttons are really small, as opposed to like the Xbox buttons are massive. So when you hit one, there's less of a chance of you hitting two at the same time.
Yeah, like
what I also like about these ones, this is a controller that comes with the Series X, is that it has textured triggers, so it's a little bit more of that tactile feel when you're pulling the trigger.
Yeah, like we were talking about handhelds earlier. Let me go grab it. I have it here. I have this. I recently put up a lot of my video game stuff. I don't have as much as I used to. It's in storage, but yeah, like the PSP. I guess that kind of counts as a controller. The PSP always just felt like really nice in my hands. And one thing that I do like, but now that I've gotten older, this one,
Yep. Simple.
It kind of
and
feels
easy.
it feels a little cramped in my hands, honestly.
Well, as you,
Like-
yeah, exactly like you said, as you've gotten older, because the hands get larger, and when you're trying to manipulate it, it feels like,
Yeah, I think that's why at some point I'm probably gonna get a modded GVA. You know, they do the horizontal ones. But yeah, the other difference is I honestly mostly prefer to play Switch docked because I mean playing it this way it's fine.
mm-hmm.
It's just I don't know, the thing
Here's
feels
the
kind of
problem with
big.
that. I don't like how far apart everything, how wide the controller gets when you're doing that.
Yeah.
It feels kind of awkward. That's why, again, I like using these types of controllers because they are like somehow exactly the proper amount of width and girth. That's what she said, to be able to game comfortably well. Because with that, it just looks and feels a little awkward.
Well, the big problem is this is kind of flat, and probably what I should do, I don't know.
Right.
I thought about getting grips for this honestly, because like
You know, I
there's
did
not-
have that was fun. Is I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I had for my Wii. You know how they had that little rifle thing that you can put the controllers into?
Yeah, the zapper.
I had that, and I used to use that all the time for like Ghost Recon, and I don't think I used it for Metroid Prime 3 because you needed the other one to be separated in order to like throw your little whip and stuff. But still, it was actually really fun to use.
Yeah. By the way, if you ever get a Switch, you need to get the Metroid Prime remake.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's one of the first things I'm gonna get. No reason not to. That and Ultimate Alliance 3 are gonna be my two primary games because I want to play that game.
All right, so how about we wrap this one up?
All right, that's a good idea.
So, Jared, what you got going on?
I have a video coming that is out right now. Talk about why Wonderbat is a crappy ship. And by the way, most of the people in the comments agree with me. But besides that, I'm reviewing on Tuesday. By the way, is the episode of Justice League Rewatch where we talk about how Justice League in the 90s discussed gender issues so perfectly. Like, again, you can listen to us rant and rave for the entire, and I almost said for hours, and I'm like, no, we didn't. But for like 10 to 20 minutes about why this episode specifically nails it and why modern writers should look to this episode as an example of how to do it. And if you're an X-Men fan, we talk specifically about the X-Men. Wednesday, I'm talking about Tom King's Sheriff of Babylon series, which is basically a story based on his time as a CIA operative in Iraq. And Friday, we're talking about when is it appropriate to gatekeep? Because there is okay, real quick as a preview, there is a time to gatekeep. It just depends on the tactics you use. Because some people do get a little too a-hole like at it. If you're nicer about it, I feel like there's less of a chance of you being seen as like a troll.
Yeah, it's the problem you have is you have these people enter these spaces where they don't care about like the history of the lore. They just want to change their whim, and then like, trust me, I'll have the perfect meme to kind of explain this when we go on there.
And you can display it on the episode. I give you preemptive permission to do so.
Yeah. Yeah, it's basically like the meme is like the person in the box. They're like, oh, we don't want you here, so they go create their own box. And these people crowd in the box, be like, oh, you don't belong here anymore, and it's just like,
yeah, it's like, and I mean, yeah, exactly, and that's one of the occasions when gatekeeping goes too far, or it's like when they say make your own stuff and then the person goes and makes their own stuff and it's more successful and they say now you can't make your own stuff, hint hint, Eric July. And to be clear, I'm not saying Eric July does that, I'm saying people do that to him.
Oh, he makes his own stuff.
He makes his own stuff, but what I mean is that people gatekeep him, or like Ethan Van Sciver or Graham Nolan, any of the Comics Gate Kings.
I think the reason why Eric July got so much heat is because he came out of the gate and was like, he made $3 million. Like, don't get me wrong, EVS has done big campaigns. EVS has done $1 million campaigns, but like those are over the course of months. Eric July made $1 million in a week.
Like, yeah, exactly. That doesn't happen.
I think he had $2 million by the end of week 1. I think.
Yeah,
that it was explosive. Like it was explosive, and plus it kind of came out of nowhere, and like Eric July kicked Marvel and DC's butt.
They should be very ashamed because it's long. But we've said for the longest time on Comics League about how Marvel and DC are struggling, and here comes Eric July out of nowhere that basically shows people are interested in comic books.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's what I got coming out, really just enjoying stuff. And by the way, we will, again, I just want to reiterate it for your audience. So the schedule for this weekend, this coming weekend streams, I'm bringing this up because this channel is going to be involved in it. Mm-hmm. On Sunday, this channel is going to be streaming the Zack Snyder's Justice League panel discussion about not at Full Circle, but you know what I'm talking about, during Full Circle. And then hopefully if there's any announcements about a possible return, you'll hear about it here on my channel. On Friday, we're going to be Saturday, we're going to be discussing Zack Snyder's Batman vs Superman Dawn of Justice panel. And then on Friday, Jay Heaton Taladia, I believe we're going to be co-streaming the one for Man of Steel. Same concept. We're going to be streaming the panel and reacting to all the trivia that's brought out, the questions, and we'll be having a good time at that. And then movie night is going to be on Wednesday night. We're going to be talking about Halo Legends. So that's besides the point. But that's all I got from Comics League.
All right. So we got the Friday Night Frenzy this week. It's going to be awesome as usual. Also, I just wanted to thank everyone who has been turning up for my live streams and watching my videos. I've been really doing pretty well in the metrics, and it's all thanks to you guys. Thank you so much.
It takes a second to grow, but take it from me, live streams help a lot. Particularly, Nick, when you get to that, if it helps you reach that 4,000 watch hours thing, really well.
Oh, yes.
Speaking of which, but
right now I'm closing in on 300 subs. What exactly am I at right now?
Sub to him.
All right. Well, yeah, I would hope so.
And me, I just passed I'm at 525, so I'm getting there. I'm rising.
I'm at 271 right now, so I am really close to 300, and when I hit 300, I will be busting out the Sparta drops.
You should. I can send them to you. I can send that to you. Do you want me to play it real quick?
No, save it for when I actually hit 300.
Let me know when you do, and I'll send you the drops because I have them all pre-made when I hit 300. From when I hit 300. So you could say your subscribers are your personal bodyguard. That's a reference to 300 if you remember that.
Yes, we fight in the shade.
Yeah, we're going to go for a nice walk. That would be so awesome. But Nick,
I actually have never seen it, so...
What? Okay. That may have to be a movie night because you've never watched 300? As a Zack Snyder fan, you've never watched 300. You watched Sucker Punch, but you haven't watched 300.
Yeah, because Sucker Punch is good.
Have you watched 300?
No.
Then you can't say whether or not it's good or not.
All right.
Clear. So... The only Zack Snyder movie I have to watch is the Owl one and the zombie one. The first zombie one is I think it's called Army of Darkness or something like that.
All right, let's wrap this up.
Yeah.
So, as always, this has been Nick from the Phoenix Press, and remember, I can only show you the door. You're the one to walk through it. Wonder about his canon.